guys, today's video is about how to wean yourself from the breast pump if you are exclusively pumping. So normally exclusively pumping is a lot more difficult than nursing. It's usually 3 times the work, but when it comes to weaning, exclusively pumping is a lot easier. To wean yourself from the breast pump is just you on your time when you want, and you don't have to worry about your baby rejecting it and all this kind of stuff. It's just you when you want, so that's what makes it a lot easier. Anyways, so as you guys know, I am weaning myself from the breast pump, and I thought to make a video just listing the steps of how to wean yourself in case you would like to know. So the first step you want to do is you want to drop your pumps until you're down to 2 pumps per day. So let's say you are pumping 8 times a day, then you want to keep dropping your pumps until you're down to 2. So for example, let's say you're pumping every 3 hours, and maybe start pumping every 3.5. So that way you'll drop maybe 1 or 2 pumps, and then maybe start pumping every 4 hours, and then 4.5, and then 5, and just keep going until you are pumping every 12 hours. So 2 pumps a day. That's the first step. Second step is to gradually reduce the length of each pumping session. So once you are down to 2 pumps per day, you want to reduce the length of each pumping session. So let's say when you're pumping 2 times a day, you're pumping for 10 minutes, then maybe drop it down to 8 or even 6. What this is going to do is it's going to tell your body that even though your body's producing the milk, you're not using it all. So it'll say, okay, she's not using it all, so we're going to make less, and that's how you're going to start dropping your milk supply. Step number 3 is to drop down to 1 pump per day. So once you have shortened the lengths of your pumps, then drop down to 1 pump per day. Now this pump, usually, it might be hard. This is probably the hardest because a lot of women have a very, very, very large milk supply, and they might feel so full that they just can't just do 1 pump a day. So when you have this issue, just get a hot compress or something and just let some of the milk out. Not all of it, because you don't want your body to think that you're using all the milk, because then it'll just keep producing a lot of milk. So maybe just let a little bit out to relieve that pressure so you don't feel so uncomfortable, and that way you can go throughout a whole day without an actual pumping session. You can also do this even with the 2 pumps per day, or even if you're lowering your pumps. Like let's say you're at 8 and you try to drop to 6, but you just feel so uncomfortable, then just let a little bit of the milk out, and that should just make you feel a little bit better, and it should get you through the day with less pumps. Anyway, so yes, when you are down to 1 pump per day, you want to drop this pumping session, but don't, if you can, actually try and skip it completely, but if you can't, then just stick with it and sit with 1 pumping session for a few days. That way it gives your body time to catch up, and all that kind of stuff, and you should be good to go. The step number 4 is to just gradually, like I said, reduce the last pump. So if you are pumping the last pump for maybe 6 minutes or 8 minutes, try and drop it down to 4 or 5. This will dramatically drop your milk supply, because it'll say she's only pumping once a day and she's not even using all the milk. It'll say, okay, she's almost fully weaned, and your body will just practically stop producing milk. If you find that the 1 pump per day you still feel really, really, really full, then again, just let a little bit of milk out, just a tiny bit, so you're not uncomfortable, and just keep doing that until eventually you can only do 1 pumping a day without relieving any of the milk. Once you keep doing that, you should have no more milk left, and you should be able to stop pumping. You might have a little bit, but you should be able to stop pumping and go 36 hours or 48 hours without even pumping or letting any milk out. At this point, if that's the case, then you are practically weaned. You want to wait a little few more days, and then if there's any milk left in your breast, just empty it out. But at that point, your body will stop making milk, so you should be completely weaned. And your body will think that you are no longer feeding your baby, and you should have normal milk, and then you're good to go. Now, I know that a lot of women feel kind of have mixed feelings about weaning, and I definitely did. You feel, sad that your baby's not going to be getting the breast milk, and you feel like you're not going to have a connection with your baby, and all this kind of stuff. But just know that exclusively pumping is so much harder than breastfeeding, than nursing. So even if you've been only exclusively pumping for 2 months, that's equivalent to, at least the way I say it, is equivalent to 6 months of nursing, because exclusive pumping is like 3 times the work. So if you've managed even 2 months, that is unreal, and you should pat yourself on the back, because it is amazing that you've managed to give your baby breast milk for 2 months, and you've done the best you can, so that's all that matters. So you can also think about the positives of weaning from the breast pump. You will no longer have to lug that breast pump around. You will no longer have to juggle your baby and breast pumping at the same time. You no longer will have to leave an event and go pump or something because you are so full and you can't just put your baby on the breast. And you no longer have to wash a million pump parts all the time. So there's just so many amazing things about weaning. And like I said, I know it is sad and all that kind of stuff, but if you've managed to even put a little bit of milk away in the freezer during this pumping time, then at least you'll have something to give your baby. And if not, that is okay. You still did an amazing job, and that's all you can do, and that's what matters the most. So just to quickly recap the steps that we talked about, just to help you out. The first step is to gradually drop your pumps until you are down to 2 pumps per day. So just keep spacing your pumps out. If you're pumping every 3 hours, then start every 4 hours, and then every 5 hours. And this can take as long as you need. It can take a month if you want to do this slowly, or it can take 2 weeks or even a week. It's all up to you. It's all up to how much milk you have and all that kind of stuff. So everyone's different, so just go on your own time and your own schedule, and also on your baby. The second step is to gradually drop, once you're down to 2 pumps a day, gradually drop one of the pumping sessions. So if you're pumping, let's say 10 minutes each session, maybe for one of the sessions, instead of 10 minutes, do 6. And you can pick whichever one you want. So if it's a night session, then maybe that's when you want to drop first. The third step is once you have dropped the time for one of your pumping sessions and you're practically down to 1 pump per day, then that's good. So if you're pumping, you should only have to pump once every 24 hours once you've lowered your time on one of the pumps. So step number 3 is to have only one remaining pump, and pump this one normally, like 10 minutes. The day after that, then you can start to drop that pump. So if you're going 10 minutes, maybe do 6 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever you feel comfortable doing. And like I said, it just all depends on your milk supply and how much milk you have. If you are uncomfortable, then you're going to have to relieve some of that milk, or you relieve your breast by emptying some of that milk during the day, but just don't empty all of it. So just, like I said, work on your own schedule and your own timing. Once you are gradually reducing the length of that last pumping session, then just sit tight for a few days and let your body catch up. And at this point, your body will realize that you are weaning your baby, and that your baby's no longer drinking from you, and it will stop producing as much milk. So at this point, you should be able to go 36 to 48 hours without having to pump. And then eventually, by doing that, your body will stop producing milk altogether, and then at this point, either with the pump or just hand compressions or whatever, you can just empty the last little bit of milk you have in your breast, and you will be fully weaned. So those are the steps to weaning your self from the breast pump. I hope you found this video helpful, and if so, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe below. Bye!